Here's the brutal truth nobody wants to admit about workplace relationships. The people who hurt you the most are often the ones you trusted the most. While everyone's obsessing over competitive colleagues and obvious office politics, the real danger lurks in the smiling faces of those who eat your food, laugh at your jokes, and share their stories with you during lunch breaks. There's something profoundly human about the way we recognize genuine care in the smallest gestures. When someone notices your patterns, your struggles, your silent battles, it creates a bond that transcends mere workplace courtesy. The cashier had observed her for weeks, noting how she'd skip meals during busy periods, how her energy would dip by afternoon, how she'd quietly suffer through hunger rather than admit her oversight. His solution wasn't grand or dramatic. It was beautifully simple and deeply thoughtful. Trust begins in these moments of unspoken understanding, where one person sees another's need and responds without expectation. Professional environments rarely foster such genuine connections, making his gesture even more precious. In a world of corporate competition and self-interest, his kindness stood out like a beacon of authentic humanity. The phrase, "I made a little extra, I thought of you," carries weight that extends far beyond its humble words. It speaks to intentionality, to someone holding space for you in their daily routine, to the rare gift of being truly seen. In workplace dynamics, we often become invisible, just another cog in the machine, another face in the crowd. But when someone breaks through that anonymity with genuine care, it touches something deep within our souls. This wasn't about the food itself, it was about recognition, about mattering to someone, about the beautiful vulnerability of accepting help. Loyalty often grows from these seeds of consistent, quiet kindness. The professional world teaches us to be guarded, but moments like these remind us why trust and connection are worth the risk. What makes this story particularly compelling is how it illustrates the foundation upon which workplace relationships should be built: mutual respect, genuine care, and consistent reliability. The cashier's actions weren't calculated or strategic. They flowed from a place of authentic concern for a fellow human being. This kind of behavior creates an environment where people feel valued, where professional relationships can flourish into something more meaningful. Yet, as we'll discover, not everyone has the wisdom to recognize and cherish such rare gestures of kindness. The very qualities that make someone trustworthy, their selflessness, their consistency, their genuine nature, can sometimes make them vulnerable to those who mistake kindness for weakness. But there's more to this story, and what unfolds next reveals a painful truth about human nature that every professional should understand. In the landscape of human relationships, particularly in professional settings, we often encounter individuals who possess an almost supernatural ability to discern character. The cashier represented this rare breed, someone who gives without counting the cost, who notices without being asked, who cares without expecting reciprocation. These individuals become the backbone of healthy workplace cultures, creating pockets of warmth and humanity in otherwise cold corporate structures. Their actions stem from a deep understanding that we're all struggling in our own ways, that a small gesture can transform someone's entire day. Learning to recognize and appreciate such people is crucial for building a fulfilling professional life. Unfortunately, not everyone possesses this wisdom, and some people's responses to genuine kindness can be shockingly disappointing. The psychology behind consistent acts of service reveals something beautiful about human nature at its finest. When someone repeatedly shows up for you in small ways, they're demonstrating a level of emotional intelligence and empathy that's increasingly rare in our fast-paced, self-centered world. This cashier understood that relationships are built through accumulated moments of care, not grand gestures or impressive displays. His approach teaches us that true professional relationships, the ones that sustain us through difficult times, are forged in the mundane moments of daily interaction. Frustration and disappointment often arise when we fail to recognize these gifts when they're offered to us. The workplace becomes a testing ground for our character, revealing whether we possess the wisdom to value genuine people or the blindness to take them for granted. There's a profound lesson hidden in the simplicity of bringing extra food. It's about seeing beyond the surface, beyond job titles and hierarchies, to the human being underneath. In professional environments, We often lose sight of this fundamental truth. We're all just people trying to make it through our days with dignity and purpose. The cashier's gesture represented the best of workplace culture, the understanding that we're stronger when we support each other, that small acts of kindness create ripple effects that transform entire environments. His consistency built something precious, a relationship based on genuine care rather than professional obligation. Yet, as we'll see, not everyone has the emotional maturity to recognize such gifts, and some responses can cut deeper than any professional setback. The contrast between his generosity and her eventual response reveals a painful truth about human nature. This story serves as a powerful reminder that in professional relationships, as in all relationships, we reveal our true character through how we treat those who are kind to us. The cashier's behavior exemplified the kind of person who makes workplaces bearable, who creates islands of humanity in seas of corporate indifference. His actions weren't about gaining favor or climbing ladders. They were about basic human decency and connection. Learning to identify and treasure such individuals is essential for building a fulfilling professional life. The tragedy lies not just in taking such kindness for granted, but in actively dismissing or belittling it. When we encounter genuine people in our professional lives, we're faced with a choice. Do we rise to meet their authenticity with our own? Or do we reveal the poverty of our character through our response? The answer to this question often determines the trajectory of our relationships and, ultimately, our professional satisfaction and personal growth. There's a haunting wisdom in recognizing someone's worth before the world catches on. Yet tragically, this insight often comes wrapped in our own inability to act upon it. She possessed that rare clarity of vision that allowed her to see past superficial appearances and societal expectations to identify genuine quality in a person. Her shy smile betrayed a deeper understanding. She knew she was in the presence of something special, something authentic that others overlooked in their pursuit of flashier, more obvious attractions. The phrase itself reveals a profound truth about human nature. We often fail to appreciate what's right in front of us until it's gone. Trust is built on this foundation of recognition, where one person truly sees another's value. In professional environments, this dynamic plays out constantly, with the most reliable, caring individuals often being taken for granted while others chase after superficial charm. Her words suggested she understood this painful paradox all too well. The melancholy embedded in her observation speaks to a universal experience, the frustration of watching good people be overlooked while lesser characters receive attention and praise. She had identified in him the qualities that make someone genuinely worthwhile: consistency, reliability, genuine care for others, and the kind of quiet strength that doesn't need to announce itself. These characteristics, while invaluable in building lasting relationships and creating meaningful connections, are often overshadowed by more dramatic or immediately appealing traits. Her shy demeanor when expressing this truth revealed her own vulnerability. Perhaps she too felt like someone who wasn't fully appreciated for who she really was. Loyalty emerges from this mutual recognition of hidden worth, creating bonds between people who see past surface-level attractions. The workplace becomes a stage where these dynamics play out daily, with the most valuable employees often being the ones whose contributions go unnoticed until they're absent. What makes her statement particularly poignant is how it foreshadows the very betrayal that would later unfold, creating a cruel irony that cuts to the heart of human inconsistency. She possessed the wisdom to recognize his value, yet lacked the character to honor it when tested. This contradiction reveals something troubling about human nature. We can intellectually understand what makes someone special, while simultaneously failing to treat them accordingly. Her words suggest she knew exactly what she had, making her eventual actions all the more devastating. The professional environment often exposes these contradictions in our character, revealing the gap between what we claim to value and how we actually behave. But understanding this pattern is crucial for anyone seeking to navigate workplace relationships successfully. And what happens next in our story illuminates why some people remain undervalued while others learn to protect their worth. The psychology behind her observation reveals a sophisticated understanding of human dynamics, yet one that would ultimately prove hollow when put to the test. She had witnessed how society tends to overlook steady, dependable individuals in favor of those who are more immediately impressive or attention-grabbing. Her recognition of his worth should have been the foundation for something beautiful, a relationship built on genuine appreciation rather than superficial attraction. Instead, it became a tragic case study in the difference between understanding someone's value and actually valuing them. Professional settings are filled with such contradictions, where people can articulate what makes a good colleague or leader while simultaneously failing to embody those principles themselves. The gap between knowledge and action is where many relationships, both personal and professional, find their breaking point. Her shy smile held the promise of someone who truly understood, making the eventual disappointment all the more profound. There's something deeply unsettling about someone who can clearly see another person's worth, yet fails to treat them accordingly when circumstances change. Her statement revealed an almost prophetic understanding of his character and how others would eventually come to appreciate what they had dismissed. She saw the future clearly, understanding that people like him are rare treasures who become more valuable with time, not less. This kind of insight should have made her more protective of the connection, more determined to nurture what she had recognized as special. Instead, it highlights the tragic flaw in human nature where we can possess wisdom without the character to live by it. Frustration builds when we realize that intellectual understanding means nothing without moral integrity to back it up. Her words would later stand as a bitter testament to her own failure to live up to her insights. The cruel irony of her statement is that she essentially predicted her own future regret while simultaneously setting herself up to create it. She understood the pattern, good people being undervalued until they're gone. Yet she would soon become the very type of person who perpetuates this cycle. Her shy smile suggested vulnerability and genuine feeling, creating the illusion of someone who would treasure what she had recognized as precious. The professional world is full of such contradictions, where people can be astute observers of human nature while remaining blind to their own failings. Her words created an expectation of loyalty and appreciation that her actions would later shatter completely. This disconnect between perception and behavior is one of the most painful forms of disappointment we can experience in workplace relationships. This story teaches us a crucial lesson about the difference between recognizing value and actually valuing someone. Her ability to articulate his worth with such precision makes her eventual betrayal all the more cutting. She knew exactly what she was destroying. The shy smile that accompanied her words suggested innocence and sincerity, qualities that would make her later actions feel like a complete betrayal of her expressed understanding. In professional relationships, we must learn to distinguish between those who simply understand quality and those who have the character to honor it consistently. Her statement serves as a warning. Beware of those who can see your worth clearly, but lack the integrity to treat you accordingly. The most painful betrayals often come from those who knew better, who understood exactly what they were throwing away, yet chose to do it anyway for reasons that reveal the poverty of their character. There's something magical about those moments when professional boundaries dissolve and genuine human connection takes center stage. When she chose to sit beside him day after day, she was making a statement that transcended workplace hierarchy. She was choosing his company over convenience, his presence over solitude. The act of sharing meals together has always been one of humanity's most intimate rituals, a way of saying, "I trust you enough to be vulnerable in your presence." Her willingness to open up about her childhood revealed a level of comfort and trust that's rare in professional settings. These weren't just lunch breaks. They were investments in a relationship that seemed to be blossoming into something beautiful and authentic. The professional environment became secondary to the human connection they were building, bite by bite, story by story. In a world where people often eat alone, scrolling through their phones, her choice to engage meaningfully spoke volumes about her character, or so it seemed. The laughter that filled their shared space carried a weight that went beyond simple amusement. It was the sound of two people finding joy in each other's company. His jokes may have been simple, but her loud, unguarded laughter suggested she found genuine delight in his humor, in his way of seeing the world. This kind of appreciation for someone's natural personality is the foundation upon which lasting bonds are built. When we laugh with someone, We're not just enjoying their humor. We're celebrating their perspective, their spirit, their unique way of being in the world. Her enthusiastic response to his simple jokes indicated she was falling for the person he was, not some idealized version of who he might become. Loyalty often grows from these moments of shared joy, where people discover they genuinely enjoy each other's company without pretense or performance. The professional world rarely provides such opportunities for authentic connection, making these lunch moments all the more precious. What makes this period particularly significant is how it represented the gold standard of workplace relationships, two people discovering genuine compatibility through consistent, meaningful interaction. Her choice to share personal stories from her childhood showed a level of trust that takes time to develop, suggesting she saw him as someone worthy of her vulnerability. The childhood stories we choose to share reveal our deepest selves, our formative experiences, our core values and beliefs. By opening this window into her past, she was essentially saying, "I want you to understand who I am beneath the professional facade." This kind of intimacy in a workplace setting is rare and precious, creating bonds that can sustain people through the inevitable challenges of professional life. Yet, as we'll see, the very qualities that make these connections so beautiful, their authenticity, their vulnerability, their genuine nature, can also make them fragile when tested by external pressures or character flaws that lie dormant until circumstances reveal them. The psychology of shared storytelling reveals something profound about human bonding. When we tell our stories, we're not just sharing information, we're sharing ourselves. Her willingness to revisit her childhood with him suggested she trusted him with her most formative experiences, her earliest memories, her foundational moments of joy and pain. This level of sharing creates a unique intimacy that goes beyond mere friendship or professional courtesy. She was inviting him into her inner world, creating a shared space where both could be fully themselves without judgment or pretense. The professional environment served as a backdrop for something much more meaningful, the discovery of genuine compatibility and mutual appreciation. Her loud laughter wasn't just politeness, it was the sound of someone who had found a kindred spirit in an unexpected place. These moments of connection are what make workplaces bearable, what transform jobs into communities, colleagues into friends. The consistency of her behavior during this period, showing up day after day, choosing his company repeatedly, engaging with genuine enthusiasm, suggested she had made a conscious decision to prioritize this relationship. In our busy professional lives, we rarely have time for such sustained attention to building connections. Her choice to invest this time and energy spoke to the value she placed on what they were creating together. The childhood stories she shared weren't just entertainment, they were gifts of trust, offerings of vulnerability that indicated she saw him as worthy of her authentic self. His simple jokes became catalysts for her genuine joy, proof that sometimes the most profound connections are built on the simplest foundations. Frustration and disappointment would later emerge when this beautiful foundation crumbled, but during these golden days, everything seemed possible. The professional world became a stage for something much more meaningful than career advancement. There's a beautiful innocence in this period of their relationship that makes what comes next all the more jarring. Her behavior during these days suggested someone who had found something rare and precious, a genuine connection, in a world full of superficial interactions. The way she laughed at his simple jokes revealed someone who appreciated authenticity over sophistication, who valued genuine humor over clever wit. Her choice to share intimate childhood memories showed a level of trust that's increasingly rare in our guarded professional culture. These moments represented the best of human connection, two people discovering they genuinely enjoy each other's company, finding joy in shared experiences, building something meaningful through consistent attention and care. The professional environment became a garden where their relationship could bloom, protected from the harsh realities of the outside world. Yet this protective bubble was more fragile than either of them realized. This period serves as a powerful reminder of how quickly and unexpectedly meaningful connections can develop when we're open to them. Her enthusiastic participation in their daily ritual, the shared meals, the stories, the laughter, created a foundation that seemed unshakable. The professional world had given them the gift of proximity and routine, but they had transformed it into something much more significant, through their willingness to be vulnerable with each other. Her loud laughter echoing through the space wasn't just sound, it was the music of genuine human connection, the soundtrack of two people discovering they were compatible in ways that transcended their professional roles. These were the moments that made the workplace feel like home, that transformed colleagues into confidants. The trust she demonstrated by sharing her childhood stories created a sacred space where both could be fully themselves. Yet, as we'll learn, even the most beautiful connections can be destroyed by a single moment of poor judgment or character failure. There's something beautifully telling about how people respond when their relationships are observed by fresh eyes, when a newcomer enters their carefully constructed world and reflects back what they see. The arrival of this new employee created an unexpected moment of truth, a mirror held up to the dynamic that had been developing between them. When the newcomer immediately recognized and complimented his kindness, she was essentially validating what had been building over those precious days of shared meals and stories. Fresh perspectives often cut through the familiarity that can blind us to what's right in front of us. The new employee's ability to quickly identify his genuine nature spoke to something that should have been obvious to everyone. His character was evident to anyone paying attention. Trust and recognition often come more easily from strangers who haven't yet learned to take someone's goodness for granted. The professional environment became a stage where his true nature was about to be either celebrated or challenged, depending on how those around him chose to respond to this outside validation. The newcomer's immediate recognition of his kindness revealed something profound about authentic character. It shines through regardless of circumstances or audience. She hadn't witnessed the daily lunches, the shared stories, or the consistent gestures of care, yet she could immediately sense something special about him. This kind of instant recognition speaks to the way genuine goodness radiates from people, creating an atmosphere of safety and warmth that others can feel even in brief interactions. Her compliment wasn't empty flattery or workplace politeness. It was an honest observation from someone unburdened by prior assumptions or social dynamics. The professional world often clouds our judgment with politics, hierarchies, and personal agendas, but sometimes it takes an outsider's perspective to remind us of what we're really seeing. Loyalty should be strengthened by such validation, not threatened by it. Unfortunately, not everyone responds well when their private connections are suddenly illuminated by public recognition. What makes this moment particularly significant is how it created an opportunity for public acknowledgement of what had been developing privately, a chance for her to stand proudly beside someone whose worth was being recognized by others. The newcomer's compliment should have been a moment of shared joy, a validation of the connection they had been building through those intimate lunch conversations. Instead, it became a test of character that would reveal the true nature of their relationship. Professional environments often present these unexpected moments where we must choose between supporting those we claim to value or protecting our own perceived status. The new employee's fresh perspective cut through whatever social dynamics had been preventing others from seeing or acknowledging his obvious goodness. This moment could have been the beginning of his broader recognition within the workplace, with her as his champion and supporter. But sometimes the people closest to us become the very ones who feel most threatened when our worth is recognized by others. The psychology behind feeling threatened by someone else's recognition of your friend's worth reveals some uncomfortable truths about human nature and social dynamics. When the newcomer praised his kindness, she was faced with a choice: embrace the validation of someone she had been growing close to, or feel somehow diminished by sharing the secret of his goodness with others. The professional environment often creates these false scarcities, where we feel that someone else's recognition somehow reduces our own special status or connection. Her response to this moment would reveal whether her appreciation for him was genuine, or whether it was more about her own ego and sense of being special for discovering him first. True friendship and loyalty rejoice when others recognize the worth of someone we care about. The newcomer's compliment should have been a gift, confirmation that her growing feelings and investment in their relationship were well-founded. Instead, it became a mirror that would reflect back her own insecurities and character flaws. There's something particularly painful about watching someone's true nature emerge under pressure, especially when that pressure comes from something as innocent as a compliment. The new employee's words created a crossroads moment where character would be tested and revealed. His kindness had been consistent throughout their interactions, never changing based on audience or circumstance, proving that his goodness was authentic rather than performed. The newcomer's ability to immediately recognize this quality spoke to its genuine nature. Real kindness has a way of making itself known without announcement or fanfare. Her reaction to this recognition would determine whether she was worthy of the connection they had been building, or whether she had been merely playing a role while her true character remained hidden. Frustration often builds when we realize that someone we trusted was performing, rather than being authentic. The professional world becomes a testing ground where these moments of truth separate the genuine from the performative. The newcomer's fresh perspective served as an unwitting catalyst for revealing the true dynamics at play in their relationship. Her compliment was innocent and genuine, born from honest observation, rather than any agenda or manipulation. This kind of authentic recognition should have been celebrated, should have strengthened the bond between all three of them as they recognized shared values and appreciation for genuine character. The professional environment had provided the perfect opportunity for his kindness to be acknowledged more broadly, potentially changing his standing within the workplace for the better. Her response to this moment would reveal whether she had been building something real with him, or whether her interest had been more about her own ego and the pleasure of having a secret admirer. The newcomer's words created a moment of clarity that would strip away pretense and reveal true intentions. Sometimes it takes an outsider's perspective to show us who we really are and who the people around us really are. This moment represents one of those crucial junctures in professional relationships where character is tested and revealed through unexpected circumstances. The newcomer's recognition of his kindness created an opportunity for growth and expanded appreciation, but it also exposed the fragility of relationships built on shaky foundations. Her response would determine whether their connection had been based on genuine mutual respect and affection, or on something more superficial and ego-driven. The professional world often presents these moments where we must choose between celebrating others' success and recognition or feeling threatened by it. His consistent character remained unchanged. He was the same kind person whether recognized by one person or many, whether appreciated privately or publicly. The newcomer's compliment served as a litmus test that would reveal the true nature of everyone involved. These moments of truth are often where the most important lessons about human character are learned, where we discover who stands with us when our worth is recognized by others. There are moments in life when someone's true character reveals itself with such brutal clarity that it leaves everyone stunned into silence. Her words cut through the air like a blade, destroying in seconds what had taken days to build through patient kindness and genuine connection. The casual cruelty of dismissing someone as nobody, someone who had consistently shown her care and attention, revealed a level of callousness that shocked even those witnessing it. What makes this betrayal particularly devastating is how effortlessly she reduced his acts of kindness to something trivial and self-serving, as if bringing food was some manipulative scheme rather than genuine care. Trust, once shattered by such thoughtless cruelty, becomes nearly impossible to rebuild, because it reveals not just poor judgment, but a fundamental lack of character. The professional environment became a stage for one of the most painful forms of betrayal, being dismissed and diminished by someone who had accepted your kindness while secretly holding you in contempt. Her words weren't just hurtful, they were a complete negation of his humanity and worth. The phrase, "acts like he's special," reveals perhaps the most insidious aspect of her betrayal, the suggestion that his kindness was somehow performative or attention-seeking rather than genuine. This kind of character assassination goes beyond simple rejection. It attempts to poison others' perception of someone's motives and destroy their reputation through cynical reinterpretation of their actions. She wasn't just rejecting his kindness. She was actively trying to make others see it as fake or manipulative. The professional world often witnesses these moments where insecure individuals try to tear down others to elevate themselves, but rarely with such precision and cruelty. Her words suggested that she had never valued his gestures for what they truly were, expressions of genuine care and human decency. Loyalty means protecting someone's reputation even when they're not present to defend themselves. Yet she chose to attack his character when he was most vulnerable. The disappointment of such betrayal goes beyond personal hurt. It damages one's faith in human nature itself. What makes her words particularly cruel is how they demonstrated that she had been observing and judging his kindness all along, waiting for the right moment to weaponize her inside knowledge against him. She knew exactly how to hurt him most effectively because she had been the recipient of his care and attention. Her dismissal wasn't born from ignorance. It came from intimate knowledge that she chose to twist into something ugly and small. The professional environment had given her a front-row seat to witness his genuine character. Yet she used this privileged position to inflict maximum damage when the opportunity arose. This level of calculated cruelty suggests someone who had been wearing a mask during all those shared lunches and intimate conversations. The realization that someone could smile at your jokes, accept your food, share your space, all while harboring such contempt, represents one of the most profound betrayals possible. But this moment also revealed something important about the nature of character. His remained consistent while hers was finally exposed for what it truly was. The psychology behind such casual cruelty reveals disturbing truths about how some people view acts of kindness and genuine human connection. Her immediate impulse to diminish and dismiss him when speaking to the newcomer suggested that she had never truly appreciated or respected what he offered. Instead, she may have felt embarrassed by the association, worried that being connected to someone she perceived as lesser would somehow diminish her own status. This kind of thinking reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of what makes someone valuable and worthy of respect. The professional world often exposes these twisted value systems, where people are judged by superficial criteria rather than character and genuine goodness. Her words weren't just an attack on him, they were a window into her own insecurities and misplaced priorities. The ease with which she destroyed him publicly suggests this wasn't an accident or moment of poor judgment. It was a revelation of her true feelings that had been hidden beneath a facade of friendship and connection. There's something particularly devastating about being betrayed by someone who had seemed to understand and appreciate your worth, only to discover they viewed you with contempt all along. Her words revealed that every shared laugh, every accepted meal, every intimate story had been received by someone who was silently judging and dismissing, rather than connecting and appreciating. The professional environment became the setting for a masterclass in human cruelty, where someone used intimate knowledge gained through trust to inflict maximum psychological damage. Her dismissal of him as nobody wasn't just an opinion, it was an attempt to rewrite the narrative of their entire relationship, to make his kindness seem pathetic rather than generous. Frustration builds when we realize how completely we misjudged someone's character, how thoroughly we were deceived by their performance of friendship and connection. The workplace had seemed like a safe space for authentic relationship building, but her words transformed it into a battlefield where kindness was punished, and genuine people were made to feel ashamed of their authentic nature. The calculated nature of her attack, timing it perfectly for maximum humiliation in front of the newcomer, reveals a level of social manipulation that's truly chilling. She didn't just reject his kindness, she orchestrated its public destruction in a way designed to ensure he would never feel safe being genuine in that environment again. Her words were chosen for maximum impact, designed to not just hurt him, but to prevent others from ever seeing him as worthy of respect or attention. This kind of strategic cruelty goes beyond momentary anger or frustration. It represents a deliberate choice to destroy someone's sense of worth and belonging. The professional world had given her the perfect opportunity to show her true character, and she chose cruelty over kindness, destruction over connection. Her words revealed someone who had been playing a long game, accepting his kindness while planning its eventual destruction. The betrayal wasn't just personal, it was a calculated assault on his dignity and humanity. This moment serves as a stark reminder of how quickly and completely trust can be shattered when someone reveals their true nature through careless cruelty. Her words didn't just end their relationship, they poisoned the entire environment, making him question not just her character, but his own judgment and worth. The professional world became a place where genuine kindness was not just unappreciated, but actively mocked and diminished. Her dismissal of him as nobody revealed everything we needed to know about her values, her character, and her capacity for basic human decency. The most painful betrayals often come from those who had seemed to appreciate and understand us, making us question our ability to judge character and connect authentically with others. Her words would echo long after they were spoken, serving as a reminder that not everyone who accepts our kindness is worthy of it, and that sometimes the people who seem closest to us are the ones capable of the deepest betrayal. The lesson isn't to stop being kind, but to be more discerning about who deserves access to our authentic selves. Topic 6. The cafeteria fell silent. He looked into her eyes, not with anger, but with raw disappointment. There are moments when silence becomes the loudest sound in the room, when the absence of noise amplifies the weight of what has just been revealed. The cafeteria's sudden hush wasn't just about people stopping their conversations. It was the collective intake of breath from witnesses to a profound betrayal. In professional environments, we often witness uncomfortable moments, but this silence carried a different quality: the recognition that something sacred had been violated, that genuine kindness had been publicly executed. The weight of her words hung in the air like smoke, contaminating the space where so many shared meals and meaningful connections had taken place. Trust, once shattered so publicly, creates ripples that extend far beyond the immediate participants, affecting everyone who witnessed the destruction of something beautiful. The professional world had become a courtroom where character was being judged, not just by those directly involved, but by everyone present. This wasn't just personal drama. It was a masterclass in human nature, teaching everyone present about the fragility of genuine connections and the devastating power of casual cruelty. When he looked into her eyes, the absence of anger spoke volumes about the depth of his character and the profundity of his disappointment. Anger would have been easier to bear, more predictable, more human in its rawness and immediate heat. But disappointment cuts deeper because it comes from a place of lost faith, shattered expectations, and the painful realization that someone you trusted was never worthy of that trust. His gaze wasn't seeking revenge or even understanding. It was saying goodbye to an illusion he had cherished. The professional environment had taught him that not everyone who accepts kindness is capable of honoring it, that some people can smile at your jokes and share your food while harboring contempt in their hearts. Loyalty requires consistency of character, something she had proven herself incapable of maintaining when tested. The silence around them amplified this moment of recognition, making it clear to everyone present that they were witnessing something significant: the death of trust and the birth of wisdom through pain. What makes this moment particularly powerful is how it revealed the fundamental difference between their characters through their respective responses to crisis. While she had chosen cruelty and public humiliation as her weapons, he chose silence and dignity as his shield. His look wasn't an attack, it was a mirror, reflecting back to her the magnitude of what she had just destroyed. The professional world often presents us with opportunities to reveal our true character under pressure, and this moment crystallized everything they were at their core. Her words had been calculated to destroy. His response was measured to preserve whatever dignity remained in the situation. Frustration and disappointment were written in his expression, but so was a kind of sad understanding, the recognition that he had been naive to trust someone who was fundamentally different from him in values and character. The cafeteria's silence created a sacred space where truth could finally be seen clearly, where pretense fell away, and authentic character was revealed in all its stark contrast. The psychology behind his response, choosing disappointment over anger, reveals someone who had genuinely cared and therefore felt the betrayal not as an attack to be answered, but as a loss to be mourned. Anger might have been more satisfying in the moment, but disappointment speaks to deeper emotional investment and higher expectations. He had believed in her capacity for loyalty and genuine connection, had trusted her with his authentic self, and her betrayal wasn't just surprising, it was devastating because it shattered his faith in his own judgment. The professional environment had seemed like a safe space for building meaningful relationships, but her words transformed it into a reminder that not everyone is capable of the depth and consistency that genuine connection requires. His silent gaze communicated everything that needed to be said. He had seen her true character, and it was nothing like what she had pretended to be. The disappointment in his eyes wasn't just about her betrayal, it was about the death of possibility, the end of what could have been something beautiful and meaningful. There's something profoundly moving about watching someone maintain their dignity in the face of public humiliation, choosing grace over retaliation even when deeply wounded. His response taught everyone in that silent cafeteria a lesson about character that no management training could provide. While she had revealed herself to be someone who weaponizes intimacy and destroys trust for momentary social advantage, he demonstrated what it looks like to be genuinely hurt without becoming cruel in return. The professional world rarely provides such clear examples of contrasting character, such obvious demonstrations of who deserves our respect and who doesn't. His disappointment wasn't just personal, it was existential. The recognition that someone he had trusted with his vulnerability was capable of using that trust as ammunition against him. The silence around them amplified this teaching moment, making it impossible for anyone present to miss the lesson about the difference between authentic and performative character. The power of his wordless response lay in how it shifted the energy in the room from her moment of cruel triumph to his moment of dignified recognition. Without saying a word, he had communicated to everyone present that her attack said nothing about his worth and everything about her character. The cafeteria's silence became a form of judgment, with everyone present suddenly understanding what they had just witnessed. His look into her eyes wasn't seeking explanation or apology. It was offering her one final moment to see herself as she truly was, someone who had destroyed something beautiful, for no reason other than momentary insecurity and social positioning. The professional environment had become a mirror, reflecting back to both of them exactly who they were when tested. Her words had been designed to diminish him, but his response elevated him while revealing the poverty of her character to everyone watching. This moment stands as a testament to the power of dignity in the face of betrayal, the strength found in choosing disappointment over anger when someone reveals their true character. His silent gaze contained multitudes, grief for what was lost, disappointment in his misjudgment, but also a kind of grateful clarity for finally seeing the truth. The cafeteria's silence became a form of respect for genuine character and a collective recognition of what had just been destroyed. Her moment of cruel victory had backfired spectacularly, revealing her to be exactly the kind of person who destroys beautiful things for ugly reasons. His response taught everyone present that true strength lies not in retaliation, but in maintaining one's character even when others abandon theirs. The professional world had provided the stage for a masterclass in human dignity, showing that sometimes the most powerful response to cruelty is simply to see it clearly and respond with the grace that the attacker lacks. There's something particularly hollow about the phrase, "it was just a joke," when used to excuse genuine cruelty, as if adding the word joke could somehow erase the damage done by deliberate words spoken with clear intent. Her attempt to minimize the devastation she had caused revealed yet another layer of her character. Not only was she capable of casual cruelty, but she lacked the courage to own the consequences of her actions. The professional environment had become a testing ground for integrity, and she was failing spectacularly at every turn. When someone tries to retreat behind the shield of humor, after inflicting real pain, they're essentially asking their victim to participate in their own diminishment, to pretend that words don't matter and impact doesn't count. Trust, once broken by deliberate cruelty, cannot be repaired by claiming it was accidental or unintentional. Her words hadn't been a slip of the tongue or a moment of poor judgment. They had been a calculated character assassination delivered with precision and malice. The workplace had witnessed her true nature, and no amount of backtracking could undo what had been revealed about who she really was beneath the facade. His response cut through her attempted deflection with surgical precision, revealing someone who understood exactly what had transpired and refused to participate in her revision of events. "The food was real, but you clearly were not." These words carried the weight of someone who had finally seen through a performance that had been ongoing for days, or perhaps weeks. The professional world had taught him a valuable lesson about the difference between authentic and performative relationships, between genuine connection and elaborate deception. His response wasn't cruel. It was simply true, stated with the clarity that comes from painful enlightenment. Loyalty requires authenticity, and she had proven herself incapable of being genuine when it mattered most. The food he had brought represented real care, real thought, real sacrifice of his time and resources for someone he had believed was worthy of such gestures. Her dismissal of him revealed that everything about their connection had been false from her perspective, that she had been playing a role while he had been building something real. What makes his response so powerful is how it distilled the entire betrayal down to its essential truth, the contrast between authenticity and performance, between genuine care and elaborate deception. While his gestures had been motivated by real concern and authentic affection, her responses had apparently been nothing more than skilled acting, designed to maintain her access to his kindness, while harboring contempt for him. The professional environment had provided the perfect laboratory for this experiment in human nature, revealing who was capable of genuine connection and who was merely performing friendship for personal benefit. His words weren't an attack. They were a statement of fact delivered with the sad wisdom of someone who had learned a painful but important lesson. Frustration and disappointment had crystallized into clarity, allowing him to see not just her true character, but his own worth and the value of his authentic gestures. The workplace had become a place of education, teaching him to distinguish between those worthy of his genuine care and those who would exploit it. The psychology behind her attempt to minimize the damage reveals someone who was more concerned with managing her image than addressing the harm she had caused. Her explanation wasn't really for him, it was for herself, an attempt to maintain the fiction that she wasn't the kind of person who could be deliberately cruel to someone who had shown her nothing but kindness. The professional world often exposes these moments where people reveal whether they're capable of owning their actions, or whether they'll retreat into denial and deflection when confronted with the consequences of their behavior. His response denied her this escape route, forcing her to confront the reality of what she had done and who she had revealed herself to be. The contrast between his consistency and her performance became undeniable in this moment. He had been the same person throughout their entire interaction, while she had been revealed as someone completely different from who she had pretended to be. Her joke defense was actually more insulting than her original attack, because it asked him to pretend that his pain wasn't real and that her cruelty hadn't been intentional. There's something profoundly satisfying about watching someone maintain their dignity and clarity in the face of gaslighting and deflection. His response demonstrated that he wouldn't be manipulated into minimizing what had happened or pretending that her cruelty was somehow acceptable because she later labeled it humor. The professional environment had taught him to value authenticity above politeness, truth above social comfort. Her attempt to reframe her attack as a joke revealed someone who was more concerned with avoiding consequences than with understanding the impact of her actions. His words forced her to confront the fundamental dishonesty of their entire relationship. While he had been genuinely investing in a connection, she had been performing a role. The food had been real because his care had been real. Everything about her response to that care had been false, because she had never been authentic in her appreciation or affection. This moment crystallized the difference between people who build real relationships and those who construct elaborate deceptions. The finality of his response left no room for further negotiation or explanation, establishing clear boundaries around what he would and wouldn't accept in terms of treatment and respect. Her attempt to minimize the damage had actually made things worse by revealing that she either didn't understand the magnitude of what she had done or was choosing to pretend it was less significant than it actually was. The professional world had provided the perfect stage for this lesson in character recognition. His consistency and authenticity stood in stark contrast to her performance and eventual betrayal. His words weren't delivered with cruelty, but with the kind of clarity that comes from painful wisdom, the understanding that some people are simply not capable of the depth and consistency that genuine relationships require. The workplace had become a place of education, teaching both of them important lessons about their own character and capacity for authentic connection. Her joke defense was actually the final nail in the coffin of any possibility for redemption or reconciliation. This exchange represents a masterclass in how to respond to gaslighting and deflection with dignity and truth. His refusal to accept her minimization of the damage taught everyone within earshot an important lesson about maintaining boundaries and refusing to participate in others' attempts to rewrite history or minimize harm. The professional environment had revealed the fundamental difference between their characters, his capacity for genuine care and consistent authenticity versus her talent for performance and her willingness to weaponize intimacy when it served her purposes. Her attempt to label her cruelty as humor was actually more insulting than the original attack, because it suggested she thought he was foolish enough to accept such an obvious deflection. His response closed the door on any possibility of reconciliation while maintaining his dignity and establishing clear expectations for how he would allow himself to be treated. The workplace had become a place of wisdom, teaching important lessons about character recognition and the value of authentic relationships over performed connections. Weeks later, he switched departments and became a supervisor. When the new employee asked for help, he responded, "I help those who don't bite the hand that feeds them." There's something deeply satisfying about watching genuine character receive the recognition it deserves, especially when that recognition comes after a period of being undervalued and mistreated. His promotion to supervisor wasn't just a career advancement. It was a vindication of everything his former colleague had dismissed as worthless. The professional world has a way of eventually revealing who possesses real leadership qualities and who merely performs friendship for personal gain. His rise to a position of authority proved that while she had been busy diminishing his worth, others were recognizing his true value and potential. Trust and reliability, the very qualities she had mocked, were exactly what made him supervisory material in the eyes of those who mattered. The workplace had become a stage for poetic justice, where authentic character was rewarded, while performative cruelty was left behind. His success wasn't driven by revenge, but by the natural progression of someone who consistently demonstrates integrity, competence, and genuine care for others. The timing of the new employee's request for help created a perfect opportunity for him to demonstrate how experiences shape our approach to relationships and professional interactions. His response wasn't born from cruelty, but from hard-won wisdom about the importance of protecting one's energy and assistance for those who will value and respect it. The professional environment had taught him valuable lessons about discernment, about the difference between those who appreciate help and those who exploit it. His words to the new employee weren't a rejection, but an education, a way of communicating that respect and gratitude are prerequisites for receiving his support and guidance. Loyalty must be mutual to be sustainable, and his experience had taught him to be more selective about where he invested his time and energy. The workplace had become his classroom, and he had graduated with honors in character recognition and boundary setting. What makes his response particularly powerful is how it demonstrated the natural consequences of treating good people poorly, while simultaneously offering a pathway to earning his respect and assistance. His reference to biting the hand that feeds wasn't just about his past experience. It was a clear communication of his values and expectations for professional relationships. The phrase served as both a boundary and an invitation. Those who understand the importance of gratitude and respect would find in him a valuable ally, while those who take kindness for granted would find themselves without his support. Professional success often comes down to the ability to build and maintain positive relationships, and his promotion proved that his approach to treating others with genuine care and respect had been noticed and valued by decision-makers. Frustration and disappointment from his previous experience had been transformed into wisdom and discernment, making him not just a better supervisor, but a better judge of character. The workplace had evolved from a place of betrayal into a platform for demonstrating the power of authentic leadership. The psychology behind his measured response reveals someone who had processed his painful experience and emerged stronger, wiser, and more selective about his professional relationships. Rather than becoming bitter or closed off, he had learned to channel his experience into better decision-making about who deserved his time, energy, and support. The professional environment had taught him that leadership isn't just about having authority. It's about using that authority wisely and fairly, while protecting oneself from those who would exploit kindness. His response to the new employee wasn't cruel. It was educational, offering a clear framework for understanding how to build positive professional relationships based on mutual respect. The promotion itself served as validation that his approach to treating others, with consistency, authenticity, and genuine care, was not only right, but valuable enough to be rewarded with increased responsibility and authority. His success proved that while performative relationships might offer short-term advantages, authentic character creates lasting value and opportunities. There's something beautifully just about his ability to use his new position to teach others about the importance of treating people well, especially those who show them kindness and support. His response to the new employee wasn't just about protecting himself. It was about setting a standard for workplace culture and demonstrating that actions have consequences. The professional world had given him the perfect opportunity to model the kind of leadership that values character over politics, authenticity over performance. His reference to not biting the hand that feeds wasn't vindictive. It was practical wisdom delivered with the authority of someone who had learned these lessons through painful experience. The new employee's request had created a teachable moment where he could share hard-won insights about professional relationships, while establishing clear expectations for how he expected to be treated in his new role. His success served as a reminder that genuine people often rise to positions where they can protect and reward other genuine people, while maintaining appropriate boundaries with those who haven't learned the value of respect and gratitude. The symmetry of his situation, moving from being dismissed to being in a position of authority, created the perfect opportunity for him to demonstrate how character shapes leadership style and decision-making. Rather than using his new power for petty revenge, he used it to establish healthy boundaries and clear expectations for professional relationships. His response to the new employee served multiple purposes. It protected his time and energy for those who would appreciate it. It educated someone new to the workplace about important professional dynamics, and it demonstrated that he had learned from his experience without becoming bitter or cruel. The professional environment had transformed from a place of betrayal into a platform for positive leadership, where he could model the kind of workplace culture that rewards genuine character and maintains appropriate consequences for those who don't value kindness. His success wasn't just personal vindication. It was proof that authentic character eventually finds its proper recognition and reward, while those who choose performance over genuineness often find themselves left behind. This conclusion to the story serves as a powerful reminder that professional success often comes to those who maintain their character and integrity, even in the face of betrayal and disappointment. His promotion wasn't just about career advancement. It was about the natural progression of someone who consistently demonstrates the qualities that make for effective leadership. The workplace had provided him with painful but valuable education about human nature, character recognition, and the importance of protecting one's energy for those who will value it appropriately. His response to the new employee demonstrated that wisdom gained through difficult experience can be transformed into better decision-making and more effective leadership. The professional world had evolved from a place of vulnerability into a platform for demonstrating that authentic character, consistency, and genuine care for others are not just personally fulfilling, but professionally valuable. His story teaches us that while betrayal and disappointment are painful, they can also be transformative experiences that prepare us for greater success and more meaningful relationships with those who truly deserve our trust and support. If this opened your eyes to patterns you've been missing, subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell. We're building a community of people who understand that success isn't just about climbing ladders. It's about recognizing character and protecting authentic relationships in a world full of performers. Your professional life will never be the same once you master these insights.